This bill will extend and improve the Veterans Choice Program so that more veterans can see the doctor of their choice. You got it? The doctor of their choice. And don't have to wait and travel long distances for VA care. Some people have to travel 5 hours, 8 hours, and they'll have to do it on a weekly basis, and even worse than that. It's not going to happen anymore.
A new law now on the books to guarantee care to our veterans, but does it go far enough? After all, they're saying you can go somewhere else until we get our act straightened out. Joining us right now from Concerned Veterans for America, Dan Caldwell. Dan, was that an important announcement yesterday?
It was. It's very good that President Trump and Congress passed a law to extend the Veteran Choice Act so that some veterans have the ability to choose to get health care in the private sector. But there needs to be more changes. The Choice Act is good, but it's a flawed bill and was meant to be temporary, which is why we need bigger reforms to get every veteran who uses the VA the ability to choose health care in the private sector. And I know that's something that President Trump campaigned on and something he wants, and which Secretary Shulkin, his VA secretary, is working on implementing.
So no Democrat is standing in his way. What's stopping the massive reform that everybody is looking for?
Well, unfortunately, behind the scenes, there are Democrats that are opposing both the health care choice reform and the accountability reforms, which make it easier to fire bad VA employees. And unfortunately, here in D.C., in the D.C. swamp, you have some Washington special interests, in particular the American Federation for Government Employees, which is the VA's union, opposing these bills and these reforms because, sadly, they benefit from the status quo. For example, right now, there's a great bill sitting in the Senate. It passed the House called the VA Accountability First Act, which would make it easier for Secretary Shulkin and President Trump to fire bad VA employees. But because of this special interest pressure, you can't pass the bill. And this is a common sense bill. It would make it easier to fire employees, including those convicted of crimes, which is unfortunately extremely difficult to do right now.
So in the meantime, by the way, what's the special interest that's stopping it?
It's the American Federation for Government Employees, which is a public sector union that represents VA employees. They don't want to make it easier to fire bad employees, and they don't want a lot of veterans going into the private sector because that could mean fewer VA employees and therefore fewer members for them. So
in the meantime, you know, one of the problems with doctors, they say, listen, when you give me your Medicare and Medicaid patients, you're not paying me enough, so therefore my practice crashes if I take nonstop Medicaid pay. Are they happy when a veteran shows up with that voucher that allows them to go outside the VA system?
Well, it's not a voucher, it's a reimbursement system. It's currently a card. I think the biggest issue that a lot of providers face is actually the reimbursement time, the time it takes for them to get paid. And that is an issue that does need to be resolved. Again, it's something that I know that President Trump and Secretary Shulkin are working on. They're aware of it, and that they're working every day to fix this problem.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.